to your reading. This is, can you believe it, but this is the new moon in Leo reading for mid-August 2020. So yes, the good news is that from an astrological point of view, the second half of August is going to be a lot more positive than the first half. I think it's fair to say that the end of July, that second half from the lunar eclipse in Capricorn through to mid-August has been quite tumultuous, and it's been reflected in the cosmic weather, basically, with all those difficult squares and oppositions that we had, particularly involving Mercury and Mars. But now we're kind of entering into much calmer waters, much more positive waters, and it's interesting that the Sabine symbol for this particular new moon is a new dawn. So I think that really says everything. This is really the sun rising up from the underworld in terms of kind of Mesopotamian Egyptian cosmology, and rejoining, or kind of retaking its position in the sky where it rightfully belongs. So I think that is our kind of omen that things are going to be on the up. Now I have had a piece of quartz as well as a piece of this is copper sitting on your cards, and that is to sort of attract messages of you know, love and abundance, which I think everyone could do with right now. So let's get into your reading and see what wants to come out, what messages we have for Pisces for this new moon in Leo. I should also say thank you so much to all my new subscribers. Welcome. It's lovely to have you. I'm really appreciating all the likes, shares and support that I'm getting in terms of new subscribers and people who are commenting. It's all kind of greatly appreciated. At least I feel like I'm not talking to a void, and that's the, you know, it's good to know that the readings are actually resonating for people out there. So that just lifts my heart and my spirits a little bit, because we light workers like to feel that we are making a difference, we are being of service to others. But anyway, let's concentrate on you, Pisces, find out what's going on. You haven't had the easiest of times, I think, in recent weeks, so I'm hoping to see a bit of a shift in the energies when we come to doing the cards. Okay, let's cut them and see what's going on. The other good news, of course, is that I've redesigned the cards, these cards, so that they are easier to see on video. They're at the printers at the moment, and I'm hoping that by the time we get to the next full moon reading, I'll have those, you know, to use for my next reading. Right. Oh gosh, yes. So I think this kind of says everything. So going into this reading and into the new moon, we've got Tristia, which is Saturn in Aquarius. So this is about kind of tears, illness, pain, suffering, loss, dejection, just feeling, you know, a bit kind of down in the dumps. And I think, as I say, that's a reflection of where you've come from, all that difficult energy that we had in kind of from mid-July until mid-August. But I'm hoping that you know, as the cards kind of come out, we see a shift in the energies. Oh dear. Maybe I spoke too soon. Okay, so it looks as though what you seem to be upset about, or you know, that's kind of on your mind, is a change in circumstances when it comes to home and family. So it's possible that you have you know, either experienced some kind of tragedy in the family, possibly there's been a breakup, maybe somebody has had ill fortune, or God forbid there's been illness or death in the family, but certainly you're feeling a bit sort of down in the dumps. It could actually also be about loss of a property. So say, for example, you were keen on moving or relocating. Perhaps you've lost that opportunity now because you're unable to move due to lockdown restrictions, or you may have lost out just in terms of a deal. Maybe your offer was not accepted by whoever the sellers were, but whatever it is, there's definitely a sense of sadness when it comes to home and family. Right. Gosh. Okay, so and then when we look at loved ones, so this is This is significant others, so it tends to be one-to-one relationships such as marriage partners, long-term committed partnerships, and that can be for business, in business and in love. So here we're looking at strong feelings, basically. Rubeus is Mars in Scorpio, and this means red. Rubeus is red in Latin. So this is about a strong passion, and of course passions can be strong either positively or negatively. It could be that you have you're strongly attracted to somebody, or it could be that you are deeply resentful towards somebody. And you know, if there is some kind of split up going on here, which is possible given that we've got this difficult energy in the fourth house, you know, it may be the split up of a marriage and therefore a home or a family. It's kind of understandable, but we have had this geomantic figure come up in several of your previous readings, so I kind of think that this is an ongoing theme, Pisces, where your emotions are quite sort of stirred up, possibly in a kind of obsessive way. This can tend towards toxic, obsessive kind of energy. So but anyway, I'm not going to say anything more until we've got all the rest of the geomantic versions in place, and we can talk further. Okay, so at least we've got a neutral figure here in your career sector. So this is conjunctio. Conjunctio is Mercury in its exalted sign of Virgo. So this is really about coming together, working with others when it comes to career and public life. So it could be that you are working closely with a public figure, for example, somebody who is a politician. It could be somebody who's a community leader. It could also be you who is the community leader, you know, wanting to work with your community, with one other person. It could also be, you know, a similar thing could be a PA, you know, working with a boss who is perhaps somebody important, or just sort of collaboration in general. But definitely conjunctio is about coming together, and it's usually you and one other person, and working closely. So I think that is the way to go if you're kind of wondering, you know, what direction to take when it comes to your career. But I'm just going to pause there and do the rest of your conversions, and then we can get more into your reading. Hi Pisces, welcome back. As you can see, I've got all the cards converted and in their positions, so let's get into your reading. Now, as usual, the best place to start is with that new moon in Leo, which for you falls here in your 6th house. The 6th house is the house of work, it's the house of schedules, routines, rituals, it's also the house of health, and it can be the house of pets. To a large extent, this is your day-to-day kind of working regimen or your routine. So it can be about your office, it can be your office environment, it can be the people that you encounter on a daily basis there. So, you know, kind of work colleagues, and it's also about, it's generally about the sort of the everyday, because it's a house ruled by Virgo, essentially. So there's a fresh start, essentially, when we've got a new moon, a fresh start for you happening when it comes to these areas of your life, which is a good thing. I kind of feel as though the last few readings have all seen you quite stuck. It's like, you know, it seems to revolve around these kind of very difficult negative emotions. It's like you're stuck in a cycle of difficult emotions, of really deep but difficult feelings. And I kind of think that there must be one of two things going on. Either you are processing grief, possibly due to the death of a loved one, or you are processing the end of a significant relationship. But it's definitely got you in your feels, and I don't think in a good way, because we've got Rubeus here in your 12th house, which is the opposite house to the 6th. And it's interesting that the two geomantic figures we've got for this axis are the polar opposite geomantic figures. So we've got Rubeus, which is red, and we've got Albus, which is white. This is Mars in Scorpio, and this is Mercury in the air sign of Gemini. So I think what it's kind of saying is that this new moon is probably a good time to really make a decision to detach from these difficult emotions. This is the area of the subconscious and of the psyche, and I really feel as though you've kind of gone into a very deep dark place, and sometimes, you know, when we are in that place, it's very difficult to get out. And I do think that it has something to do with a significant relationship that you know, has really hurt you in some way, because we keep getting this Rubeus turning up in your readings, and it's very often related to relationships of one kind or another, Pisces. So the advice here is to detach, to make a concerted decision that you're going to do what you can to detach from this energy, because it becomes self-perpetuating and it becomes very, very difficult to pull out of until we kind of make that conscious decision that we're going to change our habits. And over a period of time, this will end that cycle, basically, that circle of difficult energy. And it's really being emphasized because it's one of your outcome cards. Albus here is one of your outcome cards, and I feel as though this reading very much is for a Pisces who's stuck in grief or depression and who doesn't quite know how to kind of shake it. That's the impression that I get. So I don't think it's going to resonate for everybody. But you know, there is good news coming. As I said, this particular new moon is a really hopeful, positive new moon. It is the sun on the horizon, breaking out of that underground, that underworld place, which I feel really is where you are. It's the place of the shades. It's the place of deep sadness, of depression, of you know, of mourning, of that kind of primal energy of being stuck. And you know, it can also be because it's the symbol of Rubeus is a cup turned upside down. So we could literally be talking about destructive drinking patterns that are kind of associated with depression, for example. You know, self-medicating. But I think your spirits are really talking to you about breaking free from this, because we've got Albus, which is detachment and a fresh start, a blank sheet of paper. It's also about logic as opposed to feeling, and it's that Buddhist kind of the Buddhist practices that help you to detach from all those things that cause suffering, which are all about attachment. And this is that Scorpio energy. It's fixed water. It's very deep down. You know, it's often underground water. People can't see it, but it's there. And it's kind of, the longer it sits there, and particularly if it's still and it doesn't move, it gets stagnant, and then we can have all sorts of problems kind of developing from that. So I think that your guides are suggesting that you practice a little bit of detachment, particularly sort of like things like meditation, and seek help, because Fortuna Minor is all about getting help from others. This is about positive changes, positive shifts, as well as help and protection from others. So I think that is a really, really important message for you. And it's interesting that we've got it repeated here in your 11th house, which is the house of friendship. So I do think that if you are in a difficult place, do reach out to people that you know, close friend that you trust, that you can just talk to, because sometimes that's all that is required, is to feel heard, and that kind of gets the energy flowing again. There is this, it gets out, and we get a fresh perspective. The other thing to say is that we've got Laitisha repeated several times in this reading. We've got it here in your 5th house, we've got it in your 8th house, and again in your 9th house. Now, Laitisha is the complete opposite to Rubeus. It's happiness, it's joy, it's enthusiasm, it's that sort of wonderful childlike enthusiasm for life, that joie de vivre. And I really think that, you know, you need to sort of pay attention to this. Now, it's interesting because this is where Venus is going to be. Venus is here in your 5th house in Cancer. And at the time of this new moon, Venus will be making a very positive sextile to Uranus in Taurus. So for you, Taurus sits here in your 3rd house. So I do think that this is about positive changes, you know, when it comes to love, as well as relationships with children and creative endeavors. It could also be about taking a holiday, because Venus is about pleasure. So Venus in Cancer, you know, could be a staycation, it could be going to the seaside, or just spending time on the beach. It could also be going to your holiday home, you know, which may not be too far away, but just kind of a change of scene. And it can also be about things like a cooking holiday, or you know, where you kind of go and take cooking classes, or it could be something to do with food, like a sort of a gastronomic tour type of thing. Those are all some suggestions here, but definitely, you know, it might be a good idea to take a break of some kind, and that could be what this Venus-Uranus is suggesting. the third house can be about short trips. So, you know, as I said, it could be somewhere that's not too far away, but which just gives you a little bit of a change of scene. So maybe an Airbnb, you know, not too far away. And then Uranus here in your third house is signified by populace. Now, populace is about kind of conventional ways of thinking. In other words, not reinventing the wheel, but kind of going the tried and tested way when it comes to your communication and your outlook. And it can also be about perhaps, you know, joining with others. If you do go on holiday, maybe it's a place where there are other people. Of course, we don't necessarily want large crowds of people, but, you know, it's nice to sometimes feel part of something larger than yourself. So, you know, just going to the beach, for example, you don't have to sit right on top of other people, but you can also, you can just feel as though you are part of something else, and that can also, that collective dynamic can also just shift our energy field a little bit. So these are about positive changes here. Now, this could also be about a love connection coming in for you. This is new love sometimes, and this can be a message. So it could be through a dating site, or perhaps you know, a message coming in from something online, because populace can be collective, you know, kind of platforms. And the fact that we've got it here again, we've got Letitia here again in your 8th and your 9th house, does speak of also working potentially with others. This is one other person, so this could be, you know, working you know, with someone on a creative project or something fun, like a sports initiative, or a hobby of some kind, or maybe deciding to pool your resources with one other person and going on holiday somewhere, you know, kind of joining two families together, for example. And then we've also got Letitia here in your 9th house, which can be foreign travel, given that we've got this emphasis on the 3rd and the 9th. So this may have something to do with you know, a foreign connection, but equally it could be about a shift in beliefs or perspectives, you know, kind of shifting out of this very difficult energy. As I said, these are kind of conscious spiritual beliefs, and these are often unconscious beliefs that we acquire through the first 7 years of life, which then get activated or triggered due to difficult circumstances, for example, and then they set off a whole kind of pattern of behavior that is a repeat of early traumas or difficulties that we've had. So that's something to bear in mind. But anyway, getting back to this new moon, there's definitely a sense of needing to turn over a new leaf, to start fresh, and to kind of set intentions for moving away from this difficult energy. Now, the new moon will make a couple of aspects to other planets. First of all, it will make a conjunction to Mercury. So it's interesting that we've actually got Mercury in Gemini in the 6th house. So really emphasizing that Mercury sort of dynamic. And Mercury tends to sort of up the pace when it comes to the progress or the unfolding of events. So things should move a little bit more swiftly than they have over the last months or so, where things have been a little bit stagnant and slow. So that should be good. The pace should pick up. Now, Mercury will also be coming off of a trine to Mars in Aries, which is here in your 2nd house. So if you are waiting for, if you've applied for a job, for example, and you're waiting to hear back, then you could well get some good news, because this is a trine aspect. This is very positive kind of energies aspects between the planets. So yes, if you are waiting for news about a job, then it does look as though it will be positive and will sort of boost your income. Now, it could also be that you've decided to sort of do something on your own, and something to do with either crowdfunding, or that has a kind of online element to it. So say, for example, you've decided to do dog walking through a platform like what are they called? Can't remember now. But there's a famous dog walking and pet sitting website, or something like Etsy or eBay, or, you know, all those platforms that are kind of designed for many people to use, but which can generate, you know, individual streams of income. That could be you know, something that's kind of going on here. So if it's not a job, then maybe you're rethinking what you do for a living, and this could have something to do with earning income through some kind of platform. So that's good news. And then the other aspect that is happening is a trine between the Sun and the Moon and Mercury, as well as the two nodes, the North and the South node. Now they are in Sagittarius and Gemini. So for you, that falls, I think, in your 10th house and your 4th house, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So Gemini is here and Sagittarius is here in your 10th house. So Gemini is all about fresh starts, and I do feel though that there is a need for a fresh start when it comes to home and family. So a positive shift is definitely possible here if you put your mind to it. And then South node is about what we need to release, and it definitely seems as though maybe you have this idea that nobody will ever work with you, or that you can't find the right creative partner or sort of collaborative partner for, say for example, you're looking for venture capital, or you're looking for somebody to, who's going to have the kind of dovetail of skills that you don't perhaps have. I think that you need to release that idea, because it does look to me as though this working together with somebody is certainly possible. This is Mercury in its exaltation, so it's a really positive Mercury aspect. So that's something to think about. And then it's interesting that your outcome of the reading is Card of Draconis, and I really feel when I saw the spread, my immediate response was, let it go, Pisces. And that is exactly what Card of Draconis is about. It's about endings, exits, and release. And I really feel as though this is what you need to do, is release these difficult feelings that are really holding you back, and move into a new cycle, and ask for help. If you need help, ask for it. As I say, it could be that you need to maybe phone up a helpline, the Samaritans, or some kind of helpline if you're too ashamed to reach out to friends. But definitely seek help, ask for help, because if you're in that hole, sometimes it's difficult to dig yourself out of it. Sometimes you need somebody else to help you, just to kind of give you that little kind of boost to to sort of push you into a different kind of cycle trajectory. And then as far as other aspects are concerned, we do have a healing aspect actually between the luminaries and Chiron, which is in Aries here in your 2nd house. So there is the possibility here of healing, and again, this will probably feed into whatever has been triggered for you by these difficult experiences, to do with with relationships, either to do with family or to do with a significant partner. Now this doesn't have to, as I say, be a romantic partner. It can be a business relationship, but just see if that is the case. If there has been some kind of disappointment there, just see it as clearing out the clutter, so that better stuff can come in. And this could be a new relationship, a new working relationship, a new partnership for you coming in, because all the rest of your cards are so positive. This is what I want to say to you, is these two are positive. We've got a positive card here, we've got a positive card here, and your reading itself is saying that things are going to shift very positively for you. This is about positive progressive shifts or changes in luck, in circumstance, in outlook. It's also help and protection from others. This could be your spirit guides, of course, because we've got Letitia here, but it could equally be friends who've got your back, people who can help you. So don't be afraid to reach out if you are stuck in this very difficult energy. I'm trying to think what else is going on. There are a couple of other things happening. The other thing to say, of course, is that this particular new moon happens in the late degrees of Aries. I think it's about 26 degrees of Leo, sorry. And these are associated with starseed markings, according to Lavender, the lady who started doing kind of starseed markings back in the day. So that may be of significance. The other thing is that Venus in Cancer will be making a conjunction to Sirius, and of course Sirius was very active during the solar eclipse we had back at the solstice back in June. So I do really feel that people that come into your life now, children, creative collaborators, and new lovers, really have they can really light the spark for you. Sirius is the brightest planet in the pantheon. I mean, the brightest star in our galaxy. And it's incredibly auspicious. This is the Divine Mother. This is really caring, auspicious, nurturing energy. So, you know, I really do feel like things are going to shift for you with Venus in Cancer. I think you're going to feel it as, you know, the month progresses. And do bear in mind that these readings are for 2 weeks. You know, we're not talking just about the days around the new moon. We are talking about the 2 weeks of the waxing moon cycle. So, you know, this may not be an overnight process, and you need to, I think, just be a little bit gentle with yourself and do things gradually as you feel able. But the moral of the story, the upshot of your reading is time to turn over a new leaf, time to detach from difficult emotions, from obsessive thinking, and from destructive habits. Shift. Ask for help if you need it, because a positive shift is possible, and really let go, leave this behind, leave that difficult energy of that lunar eclipse and the last Aquarius full moon behind you. That was in your 12th house, so I'm not surprised that we've got all this difficult energy here, but you're now moving into a part of the year that I think is going to be really, really positive. It's going to be kind of uphill from here, certainly. So, you know, chin up, Pisces, and, you know, hang in there. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. So if this has resonated, do hit the like button and let me know in the comments if, you know, how things have, how it's kind of resonated for you. And if you are enjoying these readings, think about subscribing if you haven't already. Just hit that red button in the bottom right hand corner. It's absolutely free, and it just means that you'll be notified if you hit the bell of when I post new readings, which I do twice a month. And then, of course, there is my website and social media pages too, where I often post updates about you know, the astrological transits, which are you know, a good supplement to these readings. So anyway, I hope that's been helpful. Lots of love, big hug, Pisces. My thoughts are with you, and you know, all the best. Hopefully things improve over the course of the next 2 weeks, and I'll catch you again for that full moon reading in a fortnight.